All right. Thank you for joining us today for what I think is going to be a very interesting discussion that we've got lined up for you. To start off, allow me to introduce our panel of speakers. First off, we have Lauren Bailey, president and founder of Factor 8. Before founding Factor 8 and hashtag Girls Club, Lauren led sales divisions in the technology sector and built multiple sales training departments in over 15 countries for IBM and SAP. She's consistently been recognized as a top sales coach, top woman in sales, and most influential inside sales leader, and is most passionate about helping young professionals find success and confidence at work. Next, we have Joe Cronin, Director of Inside Sales for ConnectLeader. Before joining ConnectLeader, Joe founded a successful Boston-based video company called Rewatchable.com. While building the company, he saw the waste and inefficiencies related to so-called modern prospecting from a business owner perspective. He left Rewatchable when he saw the power of ConnectLeader's truly modern sales engagement platform, where he now manages a team of sales reps to help sales leaders increase revenue. And finally, we have Arun Kumar, President and CEO of Flobile. Arun has a master's in computer applications and a master's in business administration. He possesses broad knowledge and experience in international IT and IT-enabled service requirements and solutions. And he was one of the IT advisory members for a group of educational institutions and has written a book on computer literacy called Computer Tutor. Thank you guys for joining our webinar today. Hope you guys are all doing okay.
Doing great.
Thank you for having us.
Doing great.
So yeah, we've got a really interesting discussion lined up today about the situation we're all kind of finding ourselves in, which I think it's safe to say that's not something we've seen in any of our lifetimes, but how we're kind of taking advantage of it and developing strategy to take advantage of the uncertainty that goes along with it. So Joe, I'd like to start with you. Can you tell me a little bit about your inside sales team and how you guys are kind of responding to the situation?
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for having me here. And it's good to be here. I wish we could talk about something other than the new abnormal, which is kind of where we are right now, right? But I'll tell you about my team and kind of what we're seeing, because all we do is talk to sales and marketing leaders. So I can help you understand that piece of it as well. But for my team, we're really lucky. We left the office on March 15th, and we are still work from home, and that's the plan right now. But we're lucky because my reps are able to push a button and speak to 8 decision makers in 1 hour and have automatic emails go out for them to allow them more time for it, maybe a little teaching second grade or whatever else might be going on. They're able to be very efficient in short periods of time. So my team's doing good. Their mindset, I think, is great, and partially because it's kind of like, you know, we're in a hurricane and we're the guys that sell the generators, right? That we can help the people that we're calling. So we're in a good place as far as that goes. But then as far as sales leaders that we're talking to, you know, we're seeing the smart sales leaders are in 3 buckets. And the smart sales leaders are segmenting 3 buckets, right? One would be the buy now, the companies that they still think, prospects still think there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to buy right now. And then the buy pretty soon, when we kind of come out of this, that these companies should be able to buy. And then bucket C would be, these guys aren't going to be buying for a long time. We think it's key, and the smarter sales leaders that we're talking to think it's really key to do this kind of segmentation, to be able to nurture the ones and be ready for them when they come out. You have to have those conversations. I'm hearing from decision makers that, yeah, I'll take a discovery call right now because I actually have a little bit more openings for that sort of thing right now. I'm ready to listen and hear, and then we can keep nurturing them. And so, but then the ones that are, you don't have a shot in the next 6 months. Why not leave those guys alone right now? Because it's gonna, and Lauren can talk to this, but it's gonna kill morale of your sales reps if they're consistently talking to people who just can't and won't buy.
Yeah, Lauren, does that kind of line up with what you're seeing from sales leadership on your end?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're hearing. The smart people are segmenting initially, right? Who are the people that have a fighting chance of needing what we have. And for a lot of people, that was a smart pivot they made early, right? We realized, wait a minute, right? The people we're traditionally selling to are these types of, maybe it's a discretionary marketing budget in these types of industries. But based on this pandemic and craziness that we're in, the folks who may actually have a hot need for it or whose companies may be thriving during this time, right, are in these types of industries. But then I've seen it go even further with smarter segmentation of the actual buyer. I learned some great data from Chorus this week that there's almost a 100% increase in the number of CFOs joining calls. So executive attendance is way up, just like you said, Joe. People have the time and space for it. But now the CFO is joining these in that executive panel. And of course they are, right? Because we're all fighting for that discretionary budget. Whatever budget is opened, it has to be the smart and proven spend. So you're not just competing against your traditional competitors. You're not just competing against folks who are selling solutions in your industry. You're competing against HR spends or competing against IT spends that are competing against sales spends, right? And there's a very tight bottleneck on all of it that's being held by the CFO. So I love that trend and separating into those buckets. If you haven't already, definitely start there. And then you were talking about that. Okay, now what about the people that we're nurturing, right? Let's leave the third bucket alone. What do we do with that middle bucket? And what I'm hearing from sales leaders is that we're getting those calls, we're getting them into pipeline. Things are going pretty well. It's getting across the finish line that can sometimes be difficult. And the number one thing I've heard from folks in what's going well there is that they've slowed down the sales process. The smart ones have infused it with really well done empathetic selling. A lot of people say they're trying to do it and they're just failing miserably. So I'd love to hear what Joe and Arun, you guys see about that. But they're having deeper conversations, better relationship building, deeper profiling, deeper qualification of these people because folks are taking the calls. They are attending. Now, what are we doing with that information? And the not smart ones are trying to do the quick sale to those folks, right? It's debilitating for the sales reps. It's debilitating for the future sale. And the smart leaders are taking it even further by focusing metrics there. How many people are we putting in the pipeline? How much are we learning instead of just, did you close as many sales as you did before? And that's, I think, what's most debilitating from the sales reps that we're hearing out there. I'm trying to have better conversations and be empathetic, but I'm still getting pounded from above with the same KPI expectations.
Right. So yeah, and speaking with you a little bit earlier, you've kind of learned some other interesting information about the conversations that are going on right now, and where they are in those stages. Can you speak to a little bit about that?
Sure. You want to go back and talk a little bit about, like, as you're starting to try and talk with people, right? The big mistake we're seeing is rote empathy. So we're trying to get people into the funnel and they're leading with, hi, hope all is well with you. Now I'm going to pitch you, right? That's not working very well. Or we might do one question. How are you? Is everybody good? Right now I'm going to pitch you. And I think that there's so much, this is an unfounded opportunity for us to learn about not just companies, but about the people on the other end of the phone. And by the way, this is the trend we're seeing with leaders in their own salespeople as well. There's this massive rehumanization that's happening within our organization, right? So leaders down and sellers out with our customers. And that's the part I think people need just a little bit more help on is, what does a true empathetic selling sound like? What are the questions we should be asking? What should you know about a company and about a contact before you try to pitch? And I think we could see some improvement in that area.
Yeah, and I'm with Lauren all the way. I haven't heard that term rote empathy, but that is for real important. I hope that's a takeaway for people, that I think rote empathy is worse than no empathy. That
Right?
If you just go ahead and do your thing, then do your thing. But if you do empathy and it's just, it's not sincere, then you almost may as well not bother because it's a turnoff.
The key skills that happen in there are really around listening skills, empathetic listening, and questioning, right? The number one quick tactical tip I can give is the follow-up question, right? Somebody says, yeah, well, we're surviving. Now what? What do you ask next? It's sort of like, right, in US culture, it's, hi, how are you? Well, that's a greeting. Nobody actually expects you to stop and say how you are, right? So if you're actually trying to find out how a company is, or your contact or account person, right, your relationship is, and you just start with the how are you, you're going to get, yeah, well, you know, adjusting to the new normal, haha. But they're waiting for you to dig deeper, right? And that's your opportunity to do.
Yeah, ask questions as if you actually care and want to figure out ways that you can help them. And then that empathy will just be natural.
Yes, 100%.
Makes total sense. If I can back up a little bit, Lauren, you'd mentioned that there's been a 91% increase in CFOs that are attending meetings. Arun, if I could kind of pivot over to you, what does the data look like when, you know, because first, before we have any of these conversations, we've got to get in touch with these people, right? So what is the changes that we're seeing in terms of being able to reach people when, you know, majority of them are working from home, not having maybe access to their office phones, or there being a little bit more of a challenge in that direction? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jerry. Lauren and Joe, very good insights. So I would like to share, our findings in Flobile. What we do is like we help inside sales team. When inside sales team is not touching the database, which is not refreshed, more than 30-40% of the time is not utilized for sales. Their time is utilized for verification, whether the decision maker is still in the organization, whether the businesses exist, so on and so forth. There is a lot of time is consumed for inside sales team. So what Flobile does is, instead of inside sales team do the job, Flobile do two stages of verification. We do a digital verification. That means we make sure that they are available or still in the same position. We verify through LinkedIn using social media and also other different various sources. That is a digital verification. And phone verification is our phone executives call them and make sure that that decision maker is still exist in that organization or still in the same position. So that is what Flobile does in a major way. So keep in mind, when our people make a phone call, those data are digitally verified just a few days ago. So the probability of our team reaching them, verifying them is close to 75 to 78%. But what is happening right now is we can do only 50%. So that is interesting data. So Lauren, you said that, all CFOs are attending the meeting because they want to make sure that the budget is spent in a right way. They're not there to establish a relationship with new vendor or exploring the new vendor. That is not their intention is. So what we find in a real-time data, this is a real-time data we did last week. So our team dialed close to 2,000 contacts. And what's the normal, when you see the left-hand side, that is a normal. So 71% of the people we will normally verify, that is our average. But last week, our average is 50%. So we don't know what happened to that 21% people. We have no idea. We are unable to reach them. So what surprised is, why we are unable to reach 25% of the people, not even a voice message. So there is something is going on. The change is happening because they are not available in their office anymore. So they are not, they're busy working on the field. That could be any reasons, but as per the inside sales is concerned, this is the real-time data. This is a data we did for 2,000 contacts. For this conference alone, our team verified, dialed, what is the real-time data? When you look into this perspective, so when you look into this chart, 50% of the people is very normal. I will dialed it. Either we reach their voice message or our team spoke to them, or the receptionist or a gatekeeper confirmed that he or she is still in the same position. So that is the 50% verification. But this 25% of verification, we couldn't reach them at all. And the 22% is we reached their voice message. So the 2% is no longer in the company. And the 39 out of 2,000, 39 designation has changed. So this is the real-time data. And based on the industry you are in, you could able to digest this, dissect and see whether this is applicable to your industry or not. But this is a very industry finding. We just finalized this yesterday for this webinar and say, okay, this is all we need to present because this is a data, the real-time insight we need to present to our participants and audience. And we're glad we could able to do this exercise. So this is what our finding.
Yeah, that you're unable to reach is going up. Did voicemails go down?
Voicemail is the same number.
It's the same.
Yeah, that is what we don't know where those 21% is vanished. We don't know, right? You know, it is a very good, probably we may dig deeper in the coming weeks, but we don't know is the answer. Probably they lost the job, they didn't change the numbers, or, you know, there is many factors going into it. But we didn't go deeper because it's the 2,000 contacts. So we had 1 week to go and reach them, make sure that it is available. Yeah, our team, you know, we deployed a lot of, call center executives who they call and verify that. So that is our industry, you know, interesting finding. And so Jerry, if you allow us to touch base on the buyer enablement, because Lauren and Joe spoke a little bit about that. So matter of fact, this morning we had a very interesting, dialogue with one of our corporate customer. He's into SAP cloud deployment. Right. So we came up and we were talking about buyer enablement. So they say, Arun, few of our customers not even willing to talk to us because they don't have a budget. IT budget is, vanished suddenly. But few customers, they want solution like yesterday. All the industries who are into logistic, now they are, rolling their sleeves and getting ready to get into the market. So now what we spoke is like, we reduced the buyer journey map for the people, the industry who need the solution right now.
Yes.
And for the other end, we lengthen the process, right? Hey, don't push the conversion. Don't push them. Hey, can you write a check tomorrow? Can you sign the work order tomorrow? Let us not ask that, but let's keep educating them, because those response, the email we are receiving for the watching the video, reading the blog, those response rates are going higher, mainly from the decision maker perspective. So they wanted to learn right now, but they are not ready to close. So that is the most of the part. But the 20% of the customer base who are into logistic, supply chain, they need this cloud upgrade like yesterday. So the normal conversion rate is 4 to 6 months, but now they're happening is 2 to 3 weeks. So now we are aligning everything, the follow-up sequence, the presentations, and also the protocol prototype. So they are bringing in, so we changed a lot in today's, discussion. I thought, man, this is a wonderful insights we can share in today's webinar, because that is a very hot, happened this morning.
That goes right back to what Joe said at the beginning, right? When you segment it, the folks who are hot, we need to be responsive and have a short sales cycle.
Exactly.
And right, with other folks, we've got to be prepared with the longer nurture, with value add follow-up for them. We may need to be adding steps and involving marketing in our nurture process, right?
Absolutely. What's interesting is that some of those ones in the middle bucket, we're finding that we're making friends like we hadn't before in that kind of part of the process. That it's mutually agreed that we don't have to sell you tomorrow. It's more relaxed, and people are listening more. So from that perspective, it's good. And then it's just a matter of staying in front of them over time when they're ready to go.
Yes. Yes. And I think that a lot of folks are missing that beat, right? Different industries are turning on at different rates. In fact, there's a whole different landscape from when all of us on this call just met, right? People are getting back to it. Some are ready, right? Ready, set, game on, let's sell. Where are your relationships? Are you starting from scratch, right? Did you kill them because you tried to quick close them previously?
Gotcha.
You have people in the hopper. Are your sellers ready to turn it on and go? So what have you done during this slowdown, during this period, to make sure that you're going to beat your competition to the sale? Because people are starting to pop and they're starting to get ready.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, one more thing which I wanted to highlight here is, what is the target we can give to the inside sales team? That needs to be calibrated immediately as soon as possible. No point of us putting a pressure to our inside sales team. You got to close X number of things. Rather, what we are doing in our organization, and I saw a few similar thing in one of our few customers, is they are reaching how close you became to our customers, right? How deep our customers know us. That is the target now they're marching towards, not the conversion. How close we are, how deep our customers know us. So they created a metrics for that. So inside sales team, all they have to do is instead of making a phone call to get a conversion, so they call duration is lengthier than the previous time, but they're going deeper. That's really, really matching to what we just spoke, Lauren. You spoke a few minutes ago. We have to go deeper. And that is what is happening right now in the market. And the management and the sales leader should be able to adjust their, goal. And when you give that goal, inside sales team is happily doing that because they don't have the conversion pressure. But at the same time, and again, I can say that, inside sales team are committed more than ever. That I saw from our organization.
I want to expand that a bit, Arun, because you're exactly right, but it's not just for inside sales teams. I want to talk to the people who are sales, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I used to even be field sales, because now I find myself in inside sales. And they're very used to having a face-to-face meeting and accomplishing 15 things all at once. So these metrics are really relevant to all sales teams right now. So how do they find success when it used to be a meet, a face-to-face, a presentation, a handshake? I got 50% of the sales process done, right? We have to give them those metrics as well. And I love that you called that out. Some of the ones that I'm seeing are conversation times, numbers of conversations, numbers of connects. I've seen some companies putting metrics around profile data, right? You were able to fill in or accomplish or complete this many fields in your CRM. I mean, that's how to really take something that's qualitative and try to make it quantitative for reporting purposes. And I thought that was great. Engagement metrics. So how often are they interacting with our data or our downloads or attendance and those types of things? Are they reading what we're sending? So another really great integration of sales and marketing. And then
absolutely
eventually to pipeline, right? It might not be deals, it might not be proposals, but are they legitimately added into pipeline?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So that, I mean, what does the accountability then look like right now when you're treating the pipeline a little bit differently?
Yeah, so for us, and part of what we do, not only do we get reps to conversations really quickly, but, from Command Central here, I'm able to, within 30 seconds, see my entire team, see where they are for calls today, see where they are for conversations, see where they are for emails out, be able to, at any moment, log in and listen to live calls, listen to call recordings. And so that kind of accountability, makes it so that maybe some of the reps will mow the lawn today and will mow the lawn on Saturday, right? That it's easy to get distracted, right? But when you know that you have accountability, you're more likely to do the right thing. There's an old story of the convenience store that putting in a fake camera, the theft went down because of that, right? So accountability matters, and accountability and having visibility to metrics helps the rep too, because, the old anxiety grows in a vacuum, that if I don't have clarity of what my reps are doing, sometimes I am jumping to the wrong conclusions. Where I can see really good evidence of the activity there, then things are good. And I think so for both sides, for management and for the reps, accountability is a really positive thing. And so for tools like us, but Lauren had mentioned before, Chorus and Gong and Exec Vision, those are all really good tools as well in terms of accountability.
Oh, it's critical right now. In fact, one of the number one things we were hearing from managers in the first month of this pandemic was, how do I balance accountability with micromanagement, right? When I can't hear what's happening and see it all day long, right? I feel like I'm micromanaging these people, but powerful tools like yours and the ones you mentioned now give me that visibility where I can back off. I see that you're getting it done, right? The BDR I have on my team is homeschooling right now and has like 5 people in her household. And she's getting calls done at very bizarre time, but she's getting it done, right? Nobody has to micromanage her. She gets it done when it works for her, which is fantastic. Love that you brought up the conversation intelligence tools as well, right? The Chorus, the Gongs, and the Exec Visions of the world, because coaching is also spiking right now, which just heals my little heart to see that happening, right? Like managers are actually call coaching. And if you ever thought that, you didn't need call recording in the past, hello, we definitely need it now.
And I love that your heart is healed, Laura. And what I see on my team is I can coach in more effective, better ways and more candidly than maybe I could have in Cubeville, when it's just me and the rep versus, you know, it's me and a bunch of reps hearing half of the story. I think it's allowing for better communication, which is actually a great thing.
100%. And there's the second side of coaching. Like most people think coaching is a silver bullet because it's going to help us win more deals, right? And the truth is really, really great coaching in the moment, you're not coaching the deal. You're coaching the rep, right? It's about rep development. It's about connection with their manager. It's about employee engagement, which is why most coaching fails, because, you know, they show up, it doesn't happen. The manager tells them what they screwed up on the call. Like, wait a minute, that's not rep development. And so I think some of the surge in the call coaching has happened because the manager needs to get closer to, right? We knew that the humans that work for us were struggling and we needed more engagement with them. And developing skills is something we can control right now. Let's listen to, I'm hearing the voice of the customer. I'm engaging with my rep. I'm improving their skills. It all happens at once in this magical thing called call coaching when it's done well. And I think that because we are out of Cubeville, great point, Joe, that we have to do it more, and we're doing it for more of the right reasons and focusing on doing it for more of the right reasons and having better results.
And I think you know, I would like to add one more point. You know, I'm sure this management is open to hear new ideas and thoughts. Likewise, sales, you know, sales team, including inside sales team, on-field sales team, they are open to hear our inputs and thoughts. I think this is the right time to, you know, enable the training for them. So now they are open, you know, hey, yes, you know, I need to equip myself. I know my organization is depending on me to get this target. I am responsible. I am responsible right now, but I'm also open to equip myself with required technology. So Joe, like you said, you know, all the new technology, you know, I know we have implemented a lot of technologies, but you don't get 100% support from the team because they are busy in their day-to-day activities. But now they're open to learn new technology. They're open to learn skills. At the same time, you know, I want to highlight, you know, what Flobile does is like we provide accurate prospect data information, right? We verify it. We do the 30% of the inside sales team work. So their productivity doubles. Now that is what our data says, you know, when they use Flobile data, their productivity 2x. That is what our Fortune 100 customer says, you know, because we deal with the high dollar value customers. So they say, man, even if they close one more account, it's additional $1 million for us. So when those kind of situations are there, you know, that is what is encouraging us to do what we are doing right now. And in this pandemic situation, the time management is very important. And also when they are at home, the distraction is very often, and you cannot control the distractions. So like you all said, you know, okay, 10 o'clock, I'm going to attend the call. It's not going to be possible, right? So today, as of now, you know, my son says, no, I have this flute class I need to practice. 2 to the central time. I said, oh, but gee, I have this. So we have to quickly, you know, calibrate our location. So this is happening at every home, I bet. So the time and the data and the technology and the skill set, as a matter of fact, that is what we squared all the three combined, because data is the one corner of the triangle and technology is other corner of the triangle, and skill set, the training is other part of the triangle. So when three triangle combines, I think it gives a huge value to many of the corporates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. That's awesome.
Can I just talk a little bit about productivity? I mean, have you seen that it's been going down, going up? Like, I know obviously the way that people are working has changed dramatically. I think I saw a meme the other day about typical working hours from working from home with children is like 30, 45 minutes every throughout the night, you know, whenever you can grab a few spare minutes. But I mean, what have you seen? Have you seen that productivity is going down or going up, or is it staying the same as it was before? It's just that people are working differently.
I think it's different for different teams. I mean, our team is staying very productive. And what I love is that discovery calls are a lot more meaningful. That our game has always been to get people on the phone, see if there's some pain, and then get a discovery call. And a discovery call a year ago could have been a 15-minute phone conversation where you really don't get a sense of that other person. They don't get a sense of you. I mean, in this call today, you saw Lauren and me kind of lean into the screen when the graphs were there. That sort of feedback that you're getting from the other side of the table is really important. And again, more human than it has ever been before. So productivity, you know, getting the meetings are now more valuable than I think they've ever been because almost everyone is on Zoom these days. So, and then from our perspective of, you know, our customers are really interested in dial to connect rates, like how many dials does it take to get a connect? And that varies widely depending on, you know, if you're trying to get Sergey at Google, it might be a little bit harder to get him on the phone, right? Or if you're trying to call different times of the day. But generally speaking, we're actually seeing more people are picking up the phone. We're getting more conversations going because this thing, you don't know if it is a business call or if it's that kind of urgent thing that's happening in your life because everything's getting transferred there. So as far as productivity for us, we're seeing good things, but we're lucky enough to sell something that can really help a lot of people right now.
I'm hearing the same thing, Joe. Connects are up, conversations are up. Now, if you're not experiencing that out there, then you've got probably one of two things happening, right? The first one is you've got somebody with a personal issue, something's going on and we need to reach out, right? If you're seeing it across a team, I'm going to tell you have a skill challenge. I may have heard what you want me to do, but I don't know how to do it. And I don't feel confident picking up the phone. So if your people aren't having a couple hours of productive sales conversations every day, we need to take a deeper look at that, right? We used to look at dials or talk time, right? Depending on different roles. It was 30, it was 50, it was 75. With a tool like yours, it's 280. Like dials going out during the day. But the whole goal is sales conversations. And now is the time where people are actually getting them. So if you're not seeing several hours of sales conversations happening, then your people don't have the skills to either keep them on the phone, right? Or the confidence to dial out or what to talk about during this time. They may not understand why you are relevant. They may still feel hesitant in calling out during a pandemic, but we need to root in and find what's going on there.
Yeah, or you've set up that rep to fail because they don't have the right technology, they don't have the right data, and they're profiling and talking to the wrong people. But for as long as I've been doing this the last 5 years, routinely, you know, companies that should be a lot smarter tell us that, well, you know, part of our discovery call is how many conversations do your reps have today? Well, somewhere between 2 to 5, and you know they're inflating it, right? 2 to 5 conversations in one day, and it's $75,000 to pay that person. Yeah. That didn't work a year ago or 2 years ago, but right now, when you need to be doing 3x the conversations to be able to get the results that you were getting 6 months ago, it's really, you know, a time that exactly what Lauren says. You need to figure out how to get those reps into more and longer conversations that are meaningful.
Bingo. I think we'll look back on this time and be like, there was this sweet spot and not all of us knew that we were in it, but our customers were listening to us, right? And we've been fighting that for years. Every year, the percentage of people that trust salespeople drops by like 10 points. They can't go down 10 points anymore. We're at 3%, which by the way is still like 1.5 points above politicians. So we're barely skimming that there. But this is our chance to change that, right? Do we have are we getting to the people, and do our reps have the confidence and the skills to keep those conversations going? I'm talking not just about empathy and building empathy, but do they know what questions to ask to uncover opportunity and to uncover value? Do they understand why our products are helpful in today's situation? Are we giving them questions to ask and talk tracks on how we're relevant during this industry? Do they know the deeper profile questions? Do they know how to build the relationship so that people will open up so that when they do pop and they're ready to sell, we're ready to go? Not to mention, by the way, big one I forgot, let's talk about selling to financials, right? Overcoming objections. Because what I'm hearing is conversations are happening, productivity is happening, we're getting them in the funnel, and now we're just stuck at the close. So that's the next frontier for those already there.
But I can say that, market is a little bit opening up. And, this morning I spoke to one of our customer. He traveled to Detroit last week. He said, our American Airlines flight is full. So
Woo-hoo!
people are coming up. So Ian, me, we do a bigger projects for him. And he says, Arun, I think we can commence in next 45 days. That is the conversation we had this morning. That was very encouraging. So, our team, whoever is participating in the webinar, who was seeing this, you got to act. You have this kind of leverage next 45 days or 60 days. Then they are going to be back. So if you want to utilize, they're going to get busy. So if you want to utilize their time to deep dive or to educate about your product, get their attention, bring them to the conversion stage, and then, conversion stage happen once they are ready to sign the contract. So this is a time you cannot wait.
That. Yeah, we've got the time to actually learn that, right? So what is going to make the difference? How does this stack rank in your priority of projects? What is the identified payoff that you're going to have? What trigger is what's going to happen to say when it's a yes? When do you think the budgets get back online? What's in front of this? What's the process to get it approved? These are all things we've always wanted to know, right? But nobody would take the time to give us those answers. And if you weave these questions in to a relationship building, deeper, empathetic conversation, you're going to come out a winner. So don't be afraid to have the conversations. Don't be afraid to dig deeper, spend the time, make multiple calls, and line up exactly what's got to happen for you to get that sale.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here since we're kind of hitting the 40-minute mark, and I'd like to open it up to questions here. And we have a few. The first one is, are you seeing a difference in the segmentation between public, private, and government, federal, state, and local organizations? Is that something you guys can speak to?
Don't all answer at once. I'm out on that one. I don't have a lot of clients that are selling to government. I don't have really great data on that.
Okay. And I can tell, the response rate from government side is low because, one of our project, we had to cleanse the government data, response side is low. I'm saying significantly low. But private side is, as I said, the 20% vanished, but other than that, it remains the same. So when you look into response rate, and I think government is not going to respond as you expect for at least for next few months. But private side, they are going to respond because government is having different problem right now they're dealing with. So I'm not saying government is not paying attention to all the department, but their priority has changed. They want to pay attention to COVID-19 related to, they're using other resource to balance that resource. So government side, normally it is, so that when you say segmentation in our perspective, the Flobile is very strong in doing segmentation for our customers is we segment based on the response rate, right? Which customers are responding? Let's go deep diver into it, why they are responding right now. And we take that responsiveness based on that, we segment it and give it to the inside sales team. So that is what we do on data governance side is, we always pay close attention to the sign and signal the market is giving to us or giving to the customers. So that is what I would say about the segmentation is, I don't think so. In my personal perspective, the government side, private side, it's going to be the same. But within the private side, you have to pay close attention to the segment which is responding to you positively.
I love that. So government's in bucket 3.
All right.
Yeah,
so
and I think what is.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, if
what is the same is what is the same is the government agency that you're trying to call on right now. Can you help with something right now or pretty soon? That's what makes the difference, right? Go from there. If you can't, then look at other segments. If you have to call on government because that's all you're calling on, then figure out how to get those meaningful conversations going now so that you'll have the relationship when they're ready.
Joe, I got to tell you, I love that you said, can you help right now or soon, right? Yeah. And I think that's a little piece of data I'd like to expand to help everybody. That when you're trying to close sales at this stage, I mentioned you're not just competing against your typical competitor in your space, you're competing against every other spend, right? You're also competing against time. And so you're not just selling, oh, here's how I beat my competitor. It's why you should buy, not from me, it's why you should buy right now.
Yeah.
That's really the ultimate objection, isn't it? Why you need to
Right.
right now.
Well, right now I'm saying the deciding factor is not the price. Deciding factor is how soon you can do. If they want to do right now, they say how soon you know. Because I know, because one of my friend is involved in this PPE equipment purchase. They have a $30 million order right now, 30 million equipments, and they're finding the supplier. And the supplier should be the qualified supplier. And when they talk about the pricing, I said it depends on when you can supply. That's all. The conversation over on the pricing side. Guess, the previous cohort, the pricing go for several weeks. But now I say, can you deliver tomorrow? We will pay the price. So that is what is happening. So that is a two segment. One is you need right now. The other segment is sooner, right? So you need right now, entire dynamic changed.
Okay, we've got a question. What software are you using to automate email communication? Joe, can you answer
Lauren, you start. It's too easy for me.
Yeah, I bet it is. There's a lot of really great opportunities out there. I think the one that I hear with most of my customers are outreach clients, right? That are automating emails that way. A lot of people are using, sales/marketing tools and HubSpot. Who am I forgetting right now? Salesloft. Those are the ones I'm hearing most in marketing automation. But you're the tools expert, Joe. How about you?
Yeah, and part of our platform, not only do we have this ability to push a button and get 6 to 10 decision makers in 1 hour, but also a full cadence platform, just like SalesLoft and Outreach. And what's interesting is, a good source of leads for us is folks that use SalesLoft and Outreach. Because, the emails are going out, but they need to have the phone conversation. So, but absolutely, and related to the phone, you have to do email. You need to warm up those calls, and you need to follow up on those calls. And the cold calling will be a lot less cold and a lot more effective.
100%. Yeah, I think that's the major trend in technology in the tech stack, isn't it? Right, we went wide with so many different tools, and now people are making smarter investments where I can layer them. And the fact that you do the calling and the emails together is brilliant. I hear that all too often. People think they're going to do it all on email or all on social or all on phone, and it has to be a multi-channeled approach.
It is a I say, sales 2.0 stage, I would say, because because any softwares, they can focus only on one thing if they launch the platform. When you look into HubSpot, they didn't touch many things. They started with one thing. The Salesforce, they started with a huge CRM, but now adding everything. So the Salesforce has an email sequence, Infusion has an email sequence, and Markando have an email sequence. Everything is there, and Joe organization has the phone and email, everything. So it looks like that solution is consolidating. That could be the future, and they're marching towards the future. So Joe,
and the truth is, Outreach and SalesLoft have been extremely successful, and you can be really successful just sending out emails, and you can get a lot of revenue out of that. But the question is, are you just going to forego the decision maker that's good at deleting emails? Because that's what you're leaving on the table, is the decision maker that they actually still pick up the phone, and a lot of decision makers still pick up the phone and prefer to engage that way. So it's do both of it, do all of it, really.
Yeah. And then also, audience could say that, all the attendees, you have an offer from Joe company. So, that is a good trial from us. And matter of fact, you will have an offer from all the 3 people, and Jerry will say that pretty soon.
And some of you will dismiss that email, right? Some of you will sort of read the email, but then you'll respond to the follow-up sales call. So I love that you said the email warms it up. And what so many folks who are younger sellers or managers out there don't get is that nothing actually gets sold over email, right? That's why you need the second of Joe's tool.
Social media, before social media, email used to be the influencer, right? Even now, email is an influencer. Nobody agrees that. Social media is an influencer. Nobody, disagrees that, both are influencer, but the conversion is, in my experience, still the phone, personal touch, personal thing. That is what the conversion happens.
100%.
Speaking of phones, we have a question. How are you getting to those individuals via the phone since they're now at home versus the office? And I think, Joe, you kind of spoke to that a little bit with, with your cell phone, is that a lot of people their calls are being forwarded to their cell phones, right? And they can't necessarily distinguish if this is a business call coming in. So that's resulting in perhaps higher answer rates.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You can also get mobile numbers, and maybe now is the time to mix it up a little bit more and call the mobile numbers directly. Whereas maybe you wouldn't want to start with the mobile number 3 months ago. For the time being, maybe that makes sense. But our technology just lets you call any of the numbers that you want and use the data that's most effective.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. There's right, a higher connect rate. We may be calling an office phone, but it's getting forwarded, right? And maybe there's the 20%, the people who have disappeared, right? But it could be, like you said, they don't have the forwarding technology, or unfortunately they lost a job or something.
Yeah,
like
it could be anything, because we are unable to give. We try to give the detail, but we don't want to give any false information. So we said, let's not do that. So
it'll be
probably in the
interesting.
next coming.
A month ago, I may have been, 3 months ago, I may have been annoyed to get a B2B call on my cell phone. Now it's like, how the hell else are you going to reach me? So it's less offensive than it was, 3 months ago.
Yeah, I think there's a
100%.
tacit understanding now that everybody's expecting that they're going to be getting more calls on their personal phones or their work supplied cell phones, right?
So if you're hesitating out there, permission granted. Call cell phone. Thank you, COVID.
That's right.
Just
well,
do it.
That's all the questions we have. So I wanted to just give everybody a little bit of a chance to just talk about your organizations and what you do. So Lauren, if you want to start, tell us a little about Factor 8.
Yeah, absolutely. So Factor 8 specializes in phone selling skills. I think 80% of what you find out there in books, et cetera, is, what to do during a sales conversation. And we help sales reps with the rest of the picture. How are you using the phone to find people? How do you actually get people to call you back? How do you keep them on the phone when you get them there? It's everything phone sales for reps and specific job training for inside sales managers as well. We have a full suite of virtual offerings and programs on our cool platform called the Sales Bar.
Thank you, Lauren. Joe, what about you? Tell us a little bit about ConnectLeader.
Yeah, so our platform, what it does is it helps companies find more revenue by essentially finding more opportunities, finding more conversations with decision makers, right? So for almost anyone who's on this call, if you're honest with yourself, there's some of your addressable market that you are not touching that you should be touching, but you just don't have the manpower to be able to get out enough emails, to make enough phone calls, to have enough conversations, to do enough social touches. So we do all that in our platform, make sure that your reps are essentially following a recipe and consistently staying in touch with the best contacts at your best prospects. And it's not just outbound cold calling for us, it's also inbound lead follow-up, that those inbound leads are more valuable than ever. So if you are not consistently calling those folks and staying in front of them, it's a shame on you kind of situation. But the truth is, most reps give up after a few calls, a couple emails.
The last stat I saw, Joe, was the average rep gives up after 1.7 calls, but
Wow.
You'll get to over 90% of your people after the 7th or 8th call.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
And
There's
also
this
they get
huge-
80%, they get only 80% of the sales are got by 8% of the people, those who continuously call 6th and 7th attempt.
Bingo.
Yeah, 44% drop on the first, 22% drop on the second, and I think 14 on the third and 12 on the fourth. So 94% people will give up within 4th attempt.
Goes to show that perseverance pays off. But Arun, can you talk a little bit about Flobile?
Or technology.
Yeah. Flobile does two things. One is, we provide accurate prospect data, period. Before your sales team makes a phone calls, that data assigned to us, we work as an extension of your inside sales team or a sales organization. We verify, make sure that every phone numbers are verified, every emails are verified before you launch your campaign. Another service, what we do is buyer enablement, right? We just spoke about the buyer enablement. It has to be expanded. It has to be shrinked based on the market response. We clearly communicate, strategize buyer enablement because of Amazon's, procurement process. People want to take a mobile phone. They don't want to talk anymore. But B2B, unfortunately, it is not equipped like e-commerce. It's not, you cannot go and buy a service or a product like B2B, like B2C. But unfortunately, that is the expectation of the customers right now. So what Flobile, experiencing is, or Flobile wanted to bring to the table is, we designed the entire buyer enablement for our customers. We analyze what they're looking for on the website, what they're looking for on the download. Now everything is scattered. It's not sequential or it is not organized right now. That is a huge gap between the expectation and what they have right now. So we enable the buyer experience for our customers. And also we support inside sales team to make a more productive and high phone calls.
All right.
Yeah, and essentially Flobile is helping both ConnectLeader and Factor 8 because we can't do our thing if you don't provide the data and allow the reps to be talking to the right targets, right? So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
Like you said, it's that perfect triangle, right? We've got the right people to call. Joe, you get them in front of us. And then my part is now we make sure that as you're doing those connections, right, that you're getting the most out of those conversations.
exactly.
Absolutely.
How did we just come together? We've solved it all.
Well, I'm telling you that secret goes to Suzanne Harp. She's the VP of Flobile. We were requesting, hey, we need a great panelist for this, conversation, and Suzanne, credit goes to her. So Suzanne, thank you so much for,
Thanks, Suzanne.
organizing such a great panelist. And Suzanne is the back end helping us. If we get a lot of questions, she's volunteered to organize and everything. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, Suzanne. And just to remind everybody, we have takeaways for everybody who attended the webinar today. We're giving away a custom video chat background. If you can see, Arun and I have our customized Flobile backgrounds, and we're happy to make one for you if you'd like.
I just wanted to point out that you made me look extra bad there, right? Like I'm at my summer place. It's decorated like a beach bar. So like you have a professional background and I have a surfboard on the wall.
That shows the personality, Lauren. It doesn't, no, you didn't look bad.
I don't know. That's funny.
I'm thinking maybe putting up a Flobile logo on just like a beach scene behind it.
Background?
You can do that if that's what you'd like. And we also have a no obligation audit on your prospect data. And then Factor 8 is providing a quiz called the COVID-19, right? So 19 questions you should be able to answer before selling right now.
I wrote a Cosmo quiz to help people know how to dig in deeper to having these empathetic conversations. And we'll be doing a webinar next month too. We'll invite everybody to really dig in deeper and get better at those deeper conversations. So let me know if you don't want to be invited to that.
Oh, I do. Thank you. And then Joe, ConnectLeader is providing a free 2-hour B2B sales engagement test, right?
Yeah, and that is qualified a little bit in terms of our technology works integrated with CRMs, right? So we don't want to waste anyone's time doing a test with them if they are not doing B2B calls, if they are, working out of their mom's basement. We want to be able to help, our real good prospects that we know that we're going to be able to help in the long term. So that's going to be folks that have the CRMs that we work with that have sales teams. Then absolutely, we'd love to set you up with a 2-hour trial to be able to see how this stuff works. Because the truth is, no one buys our stuff if they don't see it, because of the fact that it's almost impossible to believe how good it is, 6 to 10 conversations in 1 hour.
Yeah, the 2-hour productivity, you'll have it's like 4 days worth of selling. That's cool.
All right. Thank you, everybody. So that's going to mark the end of the webinar for us. You can contact our panelists at their emails, arun@flobile.com, lb@factor8.com, and Joe Cronin at jcronin@connectleader.com, and also their LinkedIn pages that you can see below, linkedin.com/in/Arun Panu. Hopefully I didn't butcher that, Arun. LinkedIn.com/in/inside sales advisor for Lauren, and linkedin.com/in/Joseph Cronin to get in touch with Joe. So thank you guys for joining our panel today. I hope you had, I thought it was a great discussion, so hopefully you got it out of it as much as I did. So
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you everyone. This was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good luck. Thank you.